Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Sitting Courtside, your favorite basketball podcast, episode 64. Just like always, it is your boy Dante freaking T.
He added a middle name, and it's your boy Jerry freaking D here, man.
For
Ready
all
to
the
rock.
wrestling fans out there, like Seth freaking Rollins, the freaking just adds another, oomph to it. You know what I mean?
I got you.
More emphasis, a little Tommy DeVito. Jerry, well, I know we're a basketball podcast, but a little Tommy DeVito over here. But thank you guys so much for joining. This is a basketball podcast, not a football podcast. Don't worry. Don't change the video quite yet. Thank you for joining us for another episode. We are here with some more NBA topic stuff that has happened over the last week that we're going to get into. We're going to talk about some potential, the MVP race right now, some potential MVP winners, people that will be in the final votes at the end of the season potentially. We're going to talk about one of the only good things going in Philly right now, and he goes by the name of Jerry McCain, looking like rookie of the year right now, looking like one of the best rookies from this past draft class, well as some other things as well that we will cover towards the end. But Jerry, ready to talk some MVPs here?
Yeah, but I really can't wait to get to TikTok boy. But yeah, let's start with the MVP race.
Hey, listen, at the end of the day, TikTok boy might end up being in the MVP race if he keeps doing what he's doing for Philly and is the only good player on that team. But hey, well, let's talk about the solidified stars. Let's talk about the guys that have been around longer. So the MVP race right now, Jerry, I know only like 20 games in, a little less than 20 games in, but it's looking like this is going to be a very, very tight race throughout the season. As we get closer to the end, obviously we'll see how things play out record-wise with some teams, how stats will fluctuate as the year goes on. But I just want to go over some top MVP picks right now, some of the best players in the NBA this season, kind of giving, not explaining why each one should have a case, but, kind of putting it out there why people may think that they deserve to win MVP. So I'm looking at Basketball Reference right now. Their MVP award tracker is a little interesting. They have Jared Allen on here, so I'm going to kind of stray away from that. But the top ones that we have, Giannis Antetokounmpo leading the way. He has averaging 32 points a game, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. Milwaukee is 8-9 at the moment. This is November 25th that we are filming. Happy 1 month away from Christmas, everyone. 'Tis the season. Giannis Antetokounmpo doing his thing in Milwaukee, although they are not looking great. They had a slow start. They're picking things up again, but he is, if you can say he is the only guy keeping that team afloat right now, I think I'd agree with you. If he's not on that team, God knows where they would be. Next up, Nikola Jokic in Denver. I feel like I don't have to waste much breath and air here. Averaging 30 points, 14 rebounds, 11 assists a game. I don't know. I saw this statistic. I saw this graphic. I don't know if it still holds, but averaging more points than more assists than MVP Nash, more rebounds than MVP Shaq, more points than MVP whoever. He's putting up
crazy,
ridiculous numbers, and the Nuggets are 9-6, so they're not. They don't have the best record in the league, but they are still, a good team led by Nikola Jokic, of course. Anthony Davis, Jerry, your boy, averaging 30 points as well, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, as well as 2 blocks, and a little over a steal a game. Lakers 10-6. They had a hot start to the year, or they've been kind of fluctuating, stuff like that. We can kind of get into where the Lakers have been over the last few weeks, but he is clearly the number one option in LA next to LeBron. He is taking control there. JJ Redick is doing amazing things with him. The last two guys I'm going to mention here, and then we can kind of get into, who we believe will be the MVP candidates, who we believe will be the MVP at the end of the year. Next up, Jason Tatum, Boston Celtics, being 14-3. He is averaging 29 points. Looking at the wrong player. 29 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, steal and a half a game. Again, the Celtics 14-3, second in the Eastern Conference, behind the Cleveland Cavaliers, who they did beat last week. But Jason Tatum leading the charge here. We kind of knew people were kind of hoping. Boston fans were kind of looking for Tatum to have an MVP type year after the offseason with the Team USA benching, not winning Finals MVP, people thinking a little fire underneath him. So really starting off the season hot. And then the last one we have, who I think I picked to win MVP this year, is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, OKC, 12-4, Shai Gilgeous averaging 29 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, a block a game, leading the way for the young OKC Thunder team, where a lot of people think will be the team coming out of the Western Conference this season.
Whew. Take a deep breath.
Jerry, I'm done talking right now. I'm leaving the floor to you. Just kind of give me your thoughts on the players I mentioned. If you want to add anyone else to this list, I failed to mention. I think there might be one name that I did leave off that some people might be questioning. Why didn't I say him? You might be thinking the same thing. But Jerry, floor is yours. Give me your thoughts about the MVP race, everyone here.
Yeah, I think it's real tight. I mean, everybody's playing high level basketball, especially the big four that we have outlined out. Obviously, Anthony Davis kind of fully taking this torch from LeBron to be this number one guy has been huge, and he was the main reason for their hot start, where he was averaging a little over 34 for the first 5 games or so, kind of fitting into this new JJ Redick post-centric kind of widespread, one man down, 5-4 out kind of offense. I love to see it. It's been fun to watch out in LA. But Jokic is honestly right now that's got to be the clear-cut favorite. I mean, like what he's working with in Denver, despite losing pieces. We talked about it in several podcast episodes. We talk about it in some of the shorter long forms that we've done.
It's like there's not really a lot of confidence in that team making it as far as they have in years past.
No, but he's still going to drag them. He's still going to make them look like a championship contender. And he's still going to have those guys ready to play night in and night out. And there's not going to be an easy game for anybody to take against them. Like we saw what they did against the Lakers again when they went on like a 20-0 run or whatever it was and just stomped out.
That's their kryptonite, Jerry.
It sure is.
That's their kryptonite. It's crazy. It's a thing. It's a real thing.
Like that's, again, I could stand by this the last couple of years. I think that if we don't run into Denver, the Lakers could have made a trip to the finals that one year in 2023. If they don't run into them last year, they probably make it again to the Western Conference Finals, but we see them in the first round. Like there's
tough
so
matchup.
many
tough cards to be dealt.
They have our number, man. And the bright lights don't scare a team like Denver. They're mountain people. Like so,
they love the elevation. They live for it.
It's the thrill, man. But now Tatum,
you want to talk about like the definition of MVP is like you take a player off of that team. Like what is that? What do they have? The Nuggets could be the worst team in the league without Jokic.
They'll be terrible. They won't even make the postseason. I'm confident in that.
No, Jamal Murray is leading them to the postseason.
Jokic, they are the ones. They are the guys that everybody should still be scared of, despite no major additions. I can't emphasize that enough. So
absolutely.
I think that's why that's my clear cut number one right now. It doesn't really make any other sense to have anybody else above him right now. But going on to Jason Tatum, I mean, this is what I expect from him. He had a good regular season last year too, and the season before that, where he's been top 5 or top 10 in MVP voting each year. So him being in this top 4 right now, it shouldn't be a shocker to anyone. SGA, I don't think I have to emphasize anything about him, but the one sleeper pick that I think we kind of forgot about because he's missed some time with injury, but his team, literally, I just looked it up, like they're 8-1 with him in the lineup, but without him, they kind of tapered off. How about Kevin Durant, who
let's give Kevin Durant some love. That's right.
He had the Suns up, towards the top of the West. Now I know they're sitting at 9-7 at the time of this recording, but Kevin Durant is actually putting on a great season for himself. Looking at his numbers, just 27.6 per game, 6.6 boards, 3.4 assists on 55% shooting. He's still.
How old is he, Jerry? How old is he? 35?
6, man.
6. Excuse me.
Another guy that's just really capable of filling it up day in, day out when he's healthy.
Aging like fine wine when he's healthy. When he's healthy, he needs to stay healthy, though.
Still have, they're still faces of the league. LeBron, Steph, KD, these guys could still spur a franchise. And that's exactly what Kevin Durant was doing before the injury. Again, I know they need him to be healthy to get to where they want to go. But I think if Kevin Durant comes back, he could reinsert himself back into this MVP fray ahead of these guys, potentially. Sure. Maybe not Jokic, but I could see him kind of leapfrogging AD, SGA, maybe even Tatum, depending on how the Suns' record improves whenever he does return. So I'd keep an eye on Kevin Durant moving forward, though. Yeah,
and the MVP race, too, there's factors that go into it. Obviously, it's your stats and stuff, and how you are. A lot of narratives, of course, but it also does depend on team record and where your team places. And the MVP award is something that I think Russell Westbrook was the only player that was below a fourth seed to win an MVP back in 2016. Like it's most likely than not that you have to be a top seed in your conference to win the MVP. So seeding does like factor into this. Someone like Kevin Durant like isn't on this list because one, he's missed time, and two, the Suns, although they were at the beginning of the season were at the top, they've trickled down. I think they're in the play-in now, which just kind of speaks volumes to how packed the West is. It's insane. And the NBA, I guess, there have been reports of them looking to change the playoff format to best 16 teams. We'll say that for another episode, but there's just so many talented teams out West that where your team finishes may be the deciding factor of who wins the MVP. I agree with you, Jerry. I think it's just on paper and just watching him, it's like there's nobody better than Nikola Jokic. There isn't. There really isn't. And when I think of MVP, like I mentioned, I think of take this player off that team. How good is that team? You could take Giannis off the Bucks, and I don't think that the Bucks are good at all. But you still have a guy like Lillard. You still have some well-known pieces there. Middleton, Lopez, they're old, but like you have something there. They'll suck. They will suck, but hey, they're in the East, so they won't suck as bad if they were in the West. Then you have like SGA. You take him off that team. That's still I believe a playoff team, a play-in team, right? Yeah. Tatum, I love him. I'd say the same thing. Playoff team without him. So when you look at all these guys that we mentioned, which player really does, what does that hold like the most truth about? You take them off the team, they're the worst team. I think it's Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets. And again, look at his stats. 30-point triple-double, 14 rebounds, 11 assists. It's not like it's like 30, 10, and 10 on the dot. He's doing 30, 10, and 10 and then some. And the Nuggets are still holding their own in the West when they have really no business. Again, we've talked about the additions and the losses they made in the years past. Like they're just not the same team that they were when they won the championship. But because of Jokic, they will always be in that conversation. When the playoffs come around, we'll see how the depth plays out and how they're able to hold their own against the other teams. But I do think Nikola Jokic, as it stands right now, November 25th, is the clear-cut MVP. On Basketball Reference, he has an 85% chance of winning right now, and no one else. Everyone else is the highest. Next highest is Tatum at 4%. So it seems like it's a big gap right now. But if I am going to give love to anyone else, I am going to throw Jason Tatum and Anthony Davis out there. Jason Tatum, second best team in the East. Another guy that we didn't mention, Donovan Mitchell. I believe that he should have his name in the hat because the Cavs are 17-1. He is averaging 24 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. His numbers aren't as strong as some of these other guys, but the Cavs, they've been playing really good team basketball. A lot of guys have set up. So
the steps that he's taken as a leader goes to show like why the Cavs are doing as good as they are. So he should
100%, because he's a 28, 29 point per game scorer at the least. He could put up 30 a game if he wanted to, but I think, like you said, his leadership is shining this year, and I think that's why the Cavs have been playing so well. But Tatum, he's having a spectacular season so far. The Celtics are the best team in the NBA. Maybe not record wise, but they're the defending champs. Tatum leading the charge there. And Anthony Davis, I really don't think we should give him his love, his credit, his flowers, because he's a guy that we mentioned. I would love to see him win an individual award, Defensive Player of the Year, but an MVP would be sick. He's had a Hall of Fame career. He's been injury riddled for a lot of it. Not for a lot of it, but for a lot of it. And he hasn't really been giving a full chance to win awards because I feel like he's always been, missed too many games, this and that. So I would love to see Anthony Davis stay in this conversation and hope, maybe win it at the end of the year.
You also mentioned too, just being able to take a player off the squad and they'll be terrible, or obviously the Celtics and the Thunder, they'd be good. But the Nuggets obviously wouldn't be that great, and the Lakers definitely would not be anywhere near this if it wasn't for Anthony.
I'd say out of all those people, the second next named, you take them off, they'd suck, as Anthony Davis. No offense, Jerry, but
hey, I said it first,
But he really is like the piece that is just keeping that team together. And when he's not there, it's like it's evident they're missing a lot. So that's who I think. Those would be my top 3 MVP candidates right now. But this MVP race, like we see the gap right there with Jokic and Tatum and whatever. But this race is going to be super tight. I really do think by the end of the year, there's going to be a collective, like 5 or 6 guys that you could say should be in the top 3, should be in that final voting process. And I think we may have mentioned this on podcasts before, but it's like with so much talent in the NBA now, just how the game is being played nowadays, it's going to be so hard to decide these awards. Like you're going to have 5 guys averaging over 30 points a game. And it's like, there's going to be so many like little things that differentiate them, like team records and stuff like that. But there's just so many players that are going to make strong cases to win that, I don't envy the voters because it's a tough. So yeah, that's who I think.
We also had to factor in too, like Jokic is obviously the favorite right now, but by the end of the year, like, are we going to experience voter fatigue? Is that going to be another thing that
100%. Injuries too. What if Jokic, misses some time? Obviously, we don't want that to happen, but things like that factor in. Jokic could be the runaway favorite. Let's say he gets a finger injury and he misses 20 games. He's not winning the MVP. He's out. Exactly. So, yeah, there's definitely some factors that play into it. It's a long season, 82-game season, so a lot can happen. But let us know in the comments who you believe are the MVP favorites right now, who you believe should be, who will walk away with the MVP as of this moment. Let us know in the comments. And if we missed anyone, let us know as well. All right, Jerry, let's talk about TikTok boy. All right. I know you've been waiting. Let's talk about TikTok boy. Okay. Jared McCain, the first round draft pick for the Philadelphia 76ers, has been on an absolute heater over the last 8 games since he's kind of been given the chance to really go out there, and he's been given plenty of time to play. I think the last 8 games, he's played at least 30 minutes in each one, or right around 30 minutes.
Yep.
And I'm going to have this pulled up on the screen so you guys can see it as well. But last 8 games, he's putting up games like 27 points, 23 points, 34 and 10, 29 and 4, 24 and 4, 20 points, 36 and 3. Last game, 18 points, not as much, but he went to the free throw line 12 times. So kind of fitting in Philly that he is getting to the line as much as he is. He's learning from Embiid. Even when he's not on the floor, he's learning a thing or two from him. But so right now we're talking about Jared McCain. He is off to a historic start to his rookie season. He has the most 3-pointers made by a player in their first 5 career starts in NBA history. He is showing that he can supply you with a whole lot on offense, driving, kicking out, shooting. He can do a lot of great things on offense. And for a rookie, he is off to a hot start to his NBA career. I don't have the Rookie of the Year race in front of me pulled up, but I do believe he is number 1 in Rookie of the Year voting right now. Not voting, but he's in the race right now. So that's something that we have to highlight because that's probably the only good thing happening in Philly right now. The 76ers, we've talked about them weeks past. You can go check out that video now if you want about how things keep getting worse in Philly. And we were talking about, can things really get worse? Well, they did. Yeah, they did. So they had a team meeting where, people said some things. It's a player's thing. You kind of get frustrations out, get things off your chest. Supposedly, Tyrese Maxey called out Joel Embiid, not in a vicious way, just in a way of being like, hey, man, you're the leader. You show up late. You carry yourself this way, and it's not a good example. These things leak. Now, Joel Embiid's pissed. Now, Paul George, I wouldn't say he's pissed. He's making a podcast about it. Instead of being pissed about it, he's going and making YouTube thumbnails and talking about team meetings and stuff like that, which I have my thoughts on that, but we can get into that in a second. So now we're looking for a snitch in Philly, and it seems like Joel Embiid will not rest until they find out who it is. Paul George, now again, who just came back from an injury, gets hurt again, hyperextends, I believe, the same knee. So he's missing time, and Philly falls to 3-13, which is, after the offseason they had, we've talked, bro. Paul George was the biggest free agency signing. He was the biggest name. They got him. Now it's like Maxey, George, and Embiid. They got the big 3. They got pieces around them. This is it. This could be the year they compete. Nothing. One of the worst teams in the NBA.
Instead,
it's a mess. It's an absolute mess, Jerry.
Instead, we're talking about a rookie being the only bright spot.
Paul George is saying he can't be the most consistent player, which, like, it's true, but, like, bro, like, he said it in a way that I think kind of brings
It's
him down.
condescending. Yeah.
Very condescending. It's like, bro, like you have to realize that this kid is the only one doing anything good on your team. You should be praising him instead of being like, oh, he can't be doing that. Very condescending. That was the word I was looking for.
Like we know what PG meant by those comments, that he shouldn't be because of the established veterans on the squad like Embiid, like himself, and Tyrese Maxey. But guess what? Y'all not doing nothing else. And the dude who said it on his podcast can't even step on the floor without, something being bad. Like at this point now, PG's in a possibly the same boat as Kawhi Leonard. Where now you're just looking like an unplayable star.
Imagine if they were teammates.
Yeah, right. It's all team infirmary.
But it's like you're saying these things where it's like it's his fault that he has to do these things. Like, look in the mirror, bro. Look at the team. It's like, yeah, he's the most consistent player. It's because that's sad. It's a shame that he has to be, but it's because of you're hurt. Like, it's hard to avoid that, but it's like because of your guys' doing. McCain's just doing his job, and he's doing it very well.
Having a great time. Like I'll start with the bright spot. Let's stay optimistic. Let's stay
positive.
Jared McCain, aka TikTok boy, has possibly been, I think he is the rookie of the year so far. Like, there's been a few guys that stand out like Zach Edey or Jalen Wells, both in Memphis, but Bub Carrington out of Washington. Dalton Connectus came on strong as of late, but
absolutely,
it's Jared McCain's award to lose right now since he's been the only piece of offense that's been consistent, which again is crazy to say since he is a rookie. This is his first year in the league trying to figure out the ropes. And it's not like he's benefiting off of playing with all-star caliber teammates on a consistent basis. Like, thank God Tyrese Maxey's back into the fold now and he's healthy and trying to get, readjusted and shake off some rust a little bit. But for the most part, Jerry McCain did this run on his own with being the main focus and heartbeat of the offense. And it's not like Nick Nurse is a bad coach. I think he's pretty solid.
No.
But
yeah.
Nobody
I mean, look at the cards he's been dealt. You know what I mean? It's like you have this team and you have divas on this team. It's like you can only do so much. Like you can only control so much,
Exactly. That's why I'm glad that Jared McCain, despite the situation, is playing the best that he can. And now I know that there's another building block in Philadelphia. I know it's early, but I'm looking at Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain as a future backcourt that could potentially be what Philly uses to spur themselves forward going forward. But to address the team leaks and the snitches and like the odds list of, who's the team snitch, like the fact that Joel Embiid is the one that's trying to find
that's the best part. That's the best part. He's number one. He's the favorite.
Like, the nickname Troel sticks true here that NBA Central's definitely thinking like, you know what, dude? What if you were the one that leaked it out and now you're trying to see?
Dude, how is that not a Centel tweet? Come on, man. We're really blurring the lines now.
We're doing something. And if you're a Philly fan, I know you hate
it. Yeah, I wouldn't like it.
It's annoying. Like overall, like looking at Philadelphia's failures that they've got going on, the crack in the Liberty Bell, as I like to call it, this looks like a shit show. And this was a team that you remember all summer long while we were recording these pods. I was telling you like, yo, I don't think the Knicks got it. I don't think the Knicks are the team that should dismantle the Celtics or beat the Celtics. I know the Cavs are going to come back. They might be okay, but no one could have predicted the Cavs would have one loss through 18 games.
Ninth team in NBA history to start the season 17-1. Yeah, no one, not even a Cavs fan thought that. I'm sorry. If you said that, you're a liar. You're a liar. You're a liar, or you're a time traveler.
You could have said they were up like in the Eastern Conference standings, like maybe 5 to 10 losses. I would have been like, yeah, that sounds like it. But that, no way. Philly was the team I had my eyes on because of their MVP, because they signed the biggest fish, and they signed these good veterans to also support.
Great veterans. They filled out the roster very well.
So what we're seeing right now, like I'm highly disappointed. Like I could actually throw my laptop out the window right now. Short. Because why are you guys bad?
I could throw my laptop up in the air for joy, Jerry, because I've discussed my disdain for Philadelphia many times on this show and on this podcast, and it really does stink seeing guys get hurt and missing time. Guys like Embiid who are generational players, right? All this and that, man. To see like it crumble and fall apart the way that it is because players don't take accountability or just because of their own doing and they can't look in the mirror. I can't feel bad. I can't feel bad for it. I really can't.
I get it.
And it's like going back to the podcasting, it's like someone like Paul George. You're 33, 34 years old. Yes, you got a successful podcast. That is amazing. But for you to go from a team meeting getting leaked and then making a podcast episode about it, discussing it, that makes me think he should be the favorite to be the snitch. I think he's doing it for content.
Yeah.
I think he's doing it for content. I think Paul George has taken Podcast P, and that is his permanent. That is his nickname on the court. You can call him Podcast P because he's turning into a podcaster. I love Paul George. I think he is a Hall of Fame player. I think he is one of the more talented, skilled, underappreciated players of this generation. And he's had some injuries, tough luck with injuries over the years, whatever it may be. But if I was a fan of the team, this happens, and then my star player, who we just gave $100 and something million to, goes off and starts making podcast episodes about it instead of doing something about it and helping the team get better, nah. I'm out, bro. I don't need that. I don't want that on my team. So there's just a lot of things going on in Philly. And again, Jared McCain is the only bright spot right now, and that is it's a shame that that's what we are saying, but all credit to Jerry McCain. That kid's a stud. He's a baller, and by all means, he has a bright future ahead of him. And right now, he's the best player in the 76ers. So
We're talking about Jared McCain being the best player on the team is like a freshman moving up to varsity.
It's true, though. But it's true. It's like I really wish I was exaggerating and like just trying to be like a dick to Philly fans, but it's just the truth. It is. Like if I'm a Phillies fan, I'm watching the game. The one player I'm looking forward to watching is him. Like, okay, is he gonna have another 30-point game? Is he gonna five, 6 threes? Is he gonna do a little TikTok dance, get the renegade? Like that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm not looking forward to anyone else. So, but yeah, Philly is a mess. It continues to get worse, which is crazy. Again, we didn't think it could get worse, but shout out Jared McCain, man. Keep doing your thing, young goat. Keep the future's bright, so keep doing your thing. Fuck the noise. Just keep playing your game.
Please.
All right. Yeah, let's move on. I'm. That's enough Philly talk for me. Last talk. We're sticking the Eastern Conference. We are going to talk about another team that is missing their star player. We're going to talk about the Orlando Magic, who are third in the Eastern Conference, sitting at 11-7, only behind Cleveland and Boston, without Paolo Banchero, who I believe got injured 5 games into the season. It was very few games into the season. He's missed most of the season, but they started off a little slow after Paulo's injury. I think they lost like 4 or 5 games afterwards, but they have been on a heater ever since. And Franz Wagner has been the reason why. We've seen last year, I think, was his really first year where we kind of started to see like, all right, Franz Wagner is coming out now. Him and Paulo looking like a really good duo. Without Banchero, Franz Wagner is averaging 26 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 steals a game in only 33 minutes. And again, the Orlando Magic are 11-7, third in the Eastern Conference. He has more 30.5 rebound, 5 assist games this season, 5 of them, than his first 3 seasons combined. That was only 3 games of that. So we want to talk about, we talked about MVPs earlier and stuff, and I'm not throwing his name in there or anything like that. But Franz Wagner is really showcasing himself and really sticking out as a really like this up and coming superstar, this young superstar kind of, and seeing what he can do when he's leading a team. The Magic, I want to also clarify, very good team. They have a lot of really good pieces. Jalen Suggs, obviously Franz Wagner I mentioned, Wendell Carter. You have I can't think of his name. They have a lot of really good pieces. A great coach there as well. But Franz Wagner's leading the way. And to me, I mean, hands down, he's an all-star this year. I don't think there's really a debate there. But I kind of want to get your thoughts, Jerry, on what you're seeing from Wagner, what this means for the team moving forward when Paulo does come back, and just kind of what you see in the future for Wagner. Because again, like we're seeing him doing this as a number one. Like, what does this mean for his future? Is he gonna stay the same when Paulo comes back, or what do you think?
No, I think honestly, Paulo should play off of Franz. I think coming into the season, we're looking at the Magic, like, wow. Like, I think Paulo was averaging 29 points per game
Yeah.
whenever he was healthy. I think they only lost 2 games, but I just double checked it. Like, yeah, 5 games into the season, he goes down. We're kind of thinking Orlando's going to be flushed down into the toilet a little bit, right? That
Absolutely.
they're kind of going to struggle. I think that top 5 seed in the East is probably out of reach, but in comes Franz, who I was a little concerned about. We talked about it last year in their postseason run, where I kind of blamed him for the reason why they lost to the Cavs in 7 games there. I don't think he did enough. I think he kind of got forgotten in the offense. I think he kind of phased himself out, and he couldn't hit a shot to save his life in that postseason series. I was hard on him, but kind of seeing how he came back now and is taking that responsibility of being the number one go-to option for a team that could still be contending in the postseason, especially out east. It's like you have a solid shot, and you mentioned some of the pieces with Jalen Suggs. I want to give a huge shout out to Goga Bitadze. He's actually looking pretty damn good and showing his value as a backup center. Like, Jamal Mosley's going to have to play him more even when Wendell Carter's healthy and available. So, excuse me, it's great to kind of see this young-ish team figure it out even more with their best player out. But I think whenever Paulo does return to the floor, like this should give Franz the confidence he needs, like, to still play aggressive. Because in my mind, if I'm him moving forward, even with our franchise player coming back into the fold, I'm the number one option. And he could be 1B. Sure. We're 1A, 1B.
Absolutely.
There's going to be nights he's on. There's going to be nights I'm on. And I think the offense needs to be catered to that. They are big 6'10", talented swingmen / forwards, or even centers in this league where they have the versatility to play anywhere on the floor. And Franz is showing that with his playmaking, showing that with his scoring, and his ability to bang down low and get some boards. So I'm hyped for what we're seeing out of Franz. Again, I was super tough on him towards the end of the season because I just felt like he was lost. Not like in a way where he's just standing around in the corner, but inefficient, bad shots or taking shots and dribbling out late into the shot clock and then trying to figure it out last minute. There was some things that I questioned about his game. So seeing that this is making a little more sense now as a number one option, you're talented enough where you can make it work with anybody else that you play with, including Paulo whenever he's back on the floor. So even when Paulo's back, you shouldn't take this back seat. You should understand,
100%.
Without me, the Magic aren't going where they need to be. So I need to play a certain way whenever our superstar comes back in. But yeah, I agree. This guy should be an all-star this year as long as he keeps up this play. Hit a crazy game winner against my Lakers, which
he did
was insane. So I'm pulling for Franz. I liked him in college. They have a nice bench. They're deep. Jalen Suggs is also taking a step up this year as this super perimeter defender, 3-and-D, playmaking. He's looking like a young Drew Holiday in some ways, to where I'm liking what all the pieces. Anthony Black is also stepping up this year. I like his play. Like, everybody looks good. Like, if you're the Magic, you should feel very happy about losing your all-star form from last year and replacing him with somebody else on his team taking his spot. And I think he's doing it perfectly right now.
Listen, it's not often that you lose your franchise player to an injury and the team still continues to play well. I think it's, let's not confuse it. Like, I'm with you. This Paulo and Franz are I believe should be a 1A, 1B type situation. They're both 6'10" forwards. Franz obviously is a lethal scorer, shooter. Paulo Banchero can do a little bit of everything. Paulo is the franchise player, right? He's the number one overall pick. They're building everything around him. But I don't think that means like they go as far as he takes them. That's an easy thing to say. I think the team goes as far as someone like Franz Wagner takes them, because you know what you're getting out of Paulo. Like you said, last year, Franz didn't have the best playoff series, and they lost. I think that if by Paulo being out and Franz stepping up, like, that does nothing but boost your confidence. Like, yeah, when he comes back, like, things are going to change. Like, play styles change. Obviously, you're adding in a superstar, so like that's just what's going to happen. But now he has the confidence of knowing, like, oh, I'm doing that on my own. Like, if I was doing that without him, with him on the floor, I can do even better, because now there's more attention towards him and stuff. There's less attention on me, and not just him, but everyone else, because it's a next man up mentality, right? And this is something that, over the years, even the Celtics kind of had that mantra, that motto of like, you miss the star player, but someone else is going to step up, right? Because it's like you have a deep enough team where guys need to elevate themselves and, just kind of maybe not make a name for themselves, but maybe guys that wouldn't get as much playing time before an injury, like step up. It's like, okay, now they're gonna insert themselves into the rotation moving forward.
Yep.
So it's a glass half full thing. Like, obviously, you don't want to see your star get hurt. Like, who knows where the Magic would be now if Paulo was healthy? But at the same time, it's very encouraging to see that while he's out, everyone else is stepping up, especially Wagner. Because when Paulo does come back, I'm hyped because I think that this team is third. I don't know if they can make it past either Cleveland or Boston in the rankings, but for them to be in the conversation with them, I think is amazing for a team that young. And I think that third seed is something that they can hold on to for the remaining of the season when Paul comes back.
Yeah.
Obviously, long season, so we'll see how things play out,
It's
but
for grabs,
it's
though, right?
encouraging.
Philadelphia is not where we thought they'd be.
Milwaukee's not where we thought they'd be. The Knicks not
Milwaukee's
yet.
not. The Knicks are trying to still figure it out and mesh it together.
Mm-hmm. At least they're positive. At least they have a positive record.
Yep. And Miami's Miami. I think they look good right now, but will they look good later on? So
Right. Mm-hmm.
there's going to be a lot of moving and shaking. Like you said, it's a long season throughout the rest of the season. But if right now, 16 games in or whatever it is, I'm happy. I'm content. If I'm the Orlando Magic, or where we're at, given the landscape. And hey, they play Charlotte tonight. Should be another tough game to see kind of what comes from it. LaMelo's on a heater right now, but we'll see what happens.
Yes, sir. We shall see what happens. But if you're a Magic fan, I'd be encouraged. I'd be very happy with what I'm seeing out of this team. So shout out Franz Wagner, young stud, soon be an all-star player. So shout out to you. Keep doing your thing. That's all we have, Jerry. That's all we have for topics. Do you have anything else you want to add before we sign off here and go into our next, before we film some more stuff after this?
Yeah, I really have a problem with these NBA Cup courts, man. Like they kind
Not
of
a fan? Not a fan of them?
Like it. Like I didn't like it last year. Last year it looked even more stupid with everybody having a stripe down the middle of the floor. It looks stupid. Now this year, I'll give them some props for trying to. You know what? Let's make it a different design. Like New York, the Knicks have the city skyline.
I like the trophy in the middle of the court. I think that's cool. But it's like, why are you doing that but not doing it for the NBA Finals?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it seems to be. It's not that hard to do. You're doing it every other Tuesday and Friday. Why can't you do it for 2 weeks in June?
Like the trophy in the middle is cool, but like the excessive designs piss me off. Like some of them, like the Celtics, like got the old classic like brown hardwood. All they did was make it green and put white outlines of it. I'm like, this looks ridiculous.
I'm not a fan of the Celtics court. I don't like the all green. It's weird. I feel like it's more mixed opinion than I thought it would be. I thought more people would be hating on the design of the courts than there are, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it either. I'm a simple guy. I'm a simple guy. We don't need to do anything crazy.
Like if you're gonna make it the court a different color, I don't think you need the extra designs. Like that's just like you could have just made it a straight up green court. I'm like, okay,
sure.
It's just a green court. Like nothing too crazy, but adding in these little white outlines and I don't know. The Utah Jazz probably have the best one because it's a mountain in the arc. It doesn't look bad, but all the other ones are like whatever to me.
I'll tell you what, Adam Silver has a lot on his plate right now. He has a lot of things he's got to revamp and change. The NBA ratings being down, all-star games being underwhelming, the court's looking like shit. Adam Silver, you need to get this stuff figured out. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm not the biggest fan, but at least the NBA Cup games are entertaining. At least there's that. So, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. There's a big feel to the game, a little extra oomph to it. But yeah, no, I think I don't think I have anything to add. So since I don't have anything to add, I'm just going to sign us off here. Thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate your continued support as always. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you are here on YouTube. Put in the comments who your MVP award winners are, what you think of Jared McCain's hot start, and also what you believe, what you think of the Orlando Magic, where you think they'll finish in the Eastern Conference when this season. Orlando Magic. Oh. And if you are an audio-only listener, please make sure to give us a 5-star rating, review, all that good stuff. Check out our gamified content here on YouTube as well. Our other long-form content, you know the deal. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You know the plugs. You know the deal. And until next time, peace.
Shabba.